In this video, I'm going to show you the $10 million flywheel that so many of these 8-figure brands actually use to scale, and this really allows them to acquire customers and then really just create a flywheel of feedback where one customer lets you acquire more customers, and then those more customers let you acquire more customers, and it's really just a flywheel, right? And this is what a flywheel actually looks like in real life, but the flywheel that I'm going to be showing you today is going to look a little bit different. All of these brands here, I can guarantee you actually do this, and this is why they're actually winning. And if you want to actually create a customer flywheel, then you need to do this as well. Obviously, video is looking a little bit different today, Loom video instead of a general video, or my webcam's like down there somewhere. The reason for that is because I just don't have my webcam on me today, but I do want to actually make a video for you guys anyway. So if you don't know me, by the way, my name's Gunnar. I make scaling to 8 figures easy for health and wellness e-commerce brands, and this is why I actually make these videos as well. And honestly, a flywheel, if you actually establish a customer flywheel, this is the most profitable thing you can actually do, because a flywheel is essentially something like this, right? You get one customer, that customer allows you to get another customer, and then this customer over here allows you to get another customer, and then this just starts spinning so fast, and it's exponential, and it's honestly absolutely amazing, because 1 turns into 2, 2 turns into 4, 4 turns into 5, not 5, sorry, 8. Like, you get the point. It's just fucking exponential. So in this video, I'm actually going to explain to you how you can actually do this, and you do this using positive feedback loops. Now, I'm not talking about the feedback loops you use where you do like learnings on your ads or anything like that, because it does relate to that a little bit, and that is definitely a flywheel you can use, and I guarantee that if you use it, you will actually scale. But that is not the one that we're actually going to talk about today. I'm going to give you a specific flywheel that you can literally implement starting today if you're actually determined enough to do it. And it'll honestly help you get more customers, get you more winning ads, and honestly just help you scale your brand. So positive feedback loops, okay? How to make your business smarter every time it actually gets a customer. Now, the core idea of this is that the best businesses are built on positive feedback loops. A positive feedback loop is when the output of a system feeds back into the input, making the next input better. So this is what basically a system looks like, right? You've got your input, you've got your process over here, right? We'll name that P, we'll name this the input, and then you've got your output over here. We'll just name that O. And then you've obviously got your feedback over here. Let's just name that feed. And this is basically what a system actually looks like. You've got the input going into the process. The process then produces the output. Then the output actually gives you feedback. And then the feedback feeds into the input, ideally to make it better. But then obviously there's negative feedback loops as well, where the feedback is so bad that it doesn't actually make the input better. And this is something you might be doing right now. But a really good system is going to get you a good output, right? And that output is actually going to feed into the input to positively impact and really just create this flywheel that I was talking about earlier. That is what a system really looks like, okay? And in simple terms, input, process, output, feedback, better input. That's basically what I just said, right? Now, once you understand this, you start actually seeing feedback loops everywhere, and you can start improving really every part of your business, including the ads, product, content, customer research, community, creative testing, reviews, referrals. Everything in your business will start to improve when you actually start to create positive feedback loops. And trust me, it is not hard at all. It is honestly so easy. Like, I'm genuinely being honest. It's so easy. I even apply it in my own business, right? So what is actually a positive feedback loop? A positive feedback loop is when the output improves the input, right? For example, you get customers, you call your customers, you get better insights, you create better ads, you get more customers, and then you call more customers, you get more data, and you create better ads again. So it isn't that just like you get customers and then you basically do nothing with them. They go through the process of like fulfillment, and you get the output of a happy customer and you basically do nothing with them. A flywheel actually leverages that to get some more insights and actually create better ads and get more customers. And when you have more customers, you got more data, and use that more data to actually make better ads. This is what the biggest brands do. Like, trust me, if you start doing this now and you actually set up a system to do this now, and I'll show you how to actually set up that system. It's really not that complicated. I'm going to give you like a done for you sort of system now, and you can start to actually see where else you can apply this. But when you actually start to do this at like a small scale, if you're doing anywhere from like 100K to 500K a month right now, if you actually start doing this now, it'll be so much easier to implement this when you're like an 8-figure business or when you're a 9-figure business, because you already have that system there, right? It gets harder to do this when you're already like an 8-9-figure business, but then again, I do have an argument that you won't really get there if you don't really have a positive feedback loop. So anyway, every time the system runs, it gets smarter, okay? The customer does not give you revenue, they give you your language, objection, pain points, desires, stories, proof, better angles, better understanding, right? And this feedback can actually be used to improve the next ad. It can be improving your next offer, your next landing page, or the next product design you actually do, or the iteration that you do. Imagine you call a customer and they're like, yeah, I really did like the product, but the only thing is that, honestly, if it was a gummy, I would be so much more compelled to eat it every day. And that can be your next product iteration, right? That you actually turn it into a gummy. It's just an example, right? So what is a negative feedback loop? Because to understand a positive feedback loop, you also have to understand negative feedback loops, because this is what you're probably doing right now. A negative feedback loop is when the output either does nothing for the input or makes the input worse. For example, you launch an ad, it loses, you don't extract any learnings, then you launch another random ad, it loses again, and you did not learn anything. This is a negative feedback loop because the system doesn't get any better, right? The system just stays where it is and you're not really improving anything. The output is not improving the next input. Now, another example is you get more customers, but operations cannot handle it. Shipping gets slower, support gets worse, reviews get worse, refunds increase. This is what happens to a lot of brands as well, right? And this is why it is so important that you can actually accommodate for this kind of scale. When you get a lot of customers, right? Let's say right now, tomorrow you get 10,000 customers. Probably won't happen, but let's just say, for example, you get 10,000 customers. When you keep getting more customers, you're going to reach a point where your delivery and your fulfillment actually start to suffer from it. It actually starts to get worse because you have more customers, but now the 3PL maybe you're using or the fulfillment center you're using has a lot more complexity, right? It wasn't really simple. It was already looking chaotic, and now it's like Black Friday, you've got heaps of customers and your fulfillment center can't even handle it, right? That makes the experience worse for everyone. So that is why it can actually be a negative feedback loop as well. So you have to accommodate for scale, and you have to look out for these negative feedback loops as well, because these do more damage than they do good. The alternative to this, like if you get a lot of customers, something that'll be a positive feedback loop is actually if you create a community, right? This isn't the positive feedback loop that I did for you, and obviously I'm going to give to you at the end of this video, but this can be a feedback loop as well, like a community. If you just have a lot of customers and those customers get placed into like this sort of community where a lot of them are, in that community, they can answer each other's questions. They can basically become your own customer support. And the more people that get added to that, the more valuable it actually is. So you create this little flywheel, right? The more people get added, the better the customer service is. The better the customer service is, the more people get added. It's a flywheel, right? So the system diagram, the easiest way to understand any business system is really just to understand input, process, output, and feedback. This is what a system is, right? This is what systems thinking is. This is where you really start to get into the high level shit, okay? Let me actually write this out for you. There is an input, okay? Then there is a process. Then after that, you've got an output, basically output, right? Basically what comes out of the system. Then you have got feedback. This is what a system is, and honestly, when you're designing any system in your brand, you have to be thinking from this perspective. There is an input, there is a process, there is an output, and there is feedback. The input goes into the process, which produces the output. The output gives you feedback that you can actually put back into the input to either improve it, to do nothing with it, or you basically, make it worse, which is the negative feedback loop. This is what a system actually looks like. And this process that happens inside your system, the feedback is what comes after the result. Basically what I just explained, right? In creative testing, for example, the ad idea is the input. The process is you launch it into the ad account. The output is a spend, CTR, CPA, ROAS, purchases, comments, basically all the data you get. And then your feedback is learnings from the market, and your better input could be a sharper idea for your next ad. Like this is what I just explained. If you go back to my YouTube channel, it literally should be like over here. I use this same board for all the YouTube videos. Like, where is it? Losers into winners. If you actually go and watch this video on my YouTube channel, you'll also understand the sort of system that we actually use to do this in like ads. Like this is literally what we do ourselves as well to create this sort of flywheel of better and better and better and better ads, right? So customer calls, this is the done for you example that I've basically just done for you that you can literally do starting today if you're determined enough to actually do it. I honestly challenge you, like if you do this today and you actually if you just fucking do this today, right, you are ahead of so many people. And honestly, comment down below if you actually did this today. I would love to know who are the winners and who are the losers who actually watch this video, all right? I'm not saying that you're a loser if you don't do this, but man, you're not that committed. You have to do this. You have to do this after watching this video. Customer calls is the clearest example. One of the easiest feedback loops to create when you when you actually get new customers is simply by calling your customers, okay? It basically looks like this. More customers equals more calls, more data, better ads, and more customers. And when you get more customers, you have more calls, more data, better ads. Very, very simple. When you call your customers, you get raw market feedback. You understand why they actually bought, the problems they actually had, what almost stopped them from buying. You can even ask them that, like, is there any reason you didn't buy? And they're like, yeah, I was actually looking at your reviews and it looked kind of weird, but I decided to buy anyway. You know, you get all this feedback, what they were hoping to achieve, what words they actually naturally use, because there's a difference between you just having a post-purchase survey where people just type out stuff, right? We text differently sometimes to the way we actually speak, especially if you're doing a survey, they might polish up their speech a little bit. When you actually speak to them, you get to actually hear how they speak, like their real language. You hear their hesitations, you hear all the emotions, you hear what actually matters, and this is why calls are so valuable. Literally, do this for 30 minutes a day, and I can guarantee you will scale your brand. Like, genuinely, I can guarantee you will scale your brand, because if you become a customer-centric company, that is all that really matters, right? The 1997 letter to shareholders in Amazon, if you actually go ahead and read them, like I genuinely recommend you go read them, 1997 letter to shareholders from Amazon, Jeff Bezos literally writes that we will continue to stay completely focused on our customers, bringing the best of the best fucking service, like everything, the best to our customers. And look where they are at today. Like they're doing like 5K a second, I think. Like literally every second they make like 5K or 10K or something. So it's insane, right? And you need to actually learn from that. Who should you call? Okay, very simple. Again, recent buyers, repeat buyers, high retention customers, customers who left reviews, especially bad reviews. Like you can, one, actually get them to take back the review if you understand and solve their issue. And two, you just get a lot of like negative feedback. And negative feedback is the best kind of feedback because that is the raw shit that you need to actually improve on, okay? Recent buyers are usually the easiest because they just ordered from your store. They might even be expecting some communication, right? And it'll be very easy if you just call someone and you're like, hey, this is so-and-so from so-and-so company. You just ordered from our brand. Is it all right if I quickly ask you a couple questions? They will be pretty open to it because they just ordered, they just paid you money, right? Repeat buyers are valuable as well because they show why people actually stay, and high retention customers are valuable because they often reveal your strongest value proposition. Now, what should you actually ask? You're probably wondering, right? Well, the goal is to understand the buying journey. So you can ask questions like, how did you actually first find us? And this is really helpful if you don't have an attribution tool that can actually show you what ad customers see first or where they go, and then after that, what ad did they see? If you don't have a clear like attribution tool or something like Triple Whale or Hyros or anything like that, these questions are very, very helpful, but you should be asking them anyway. What made you decide to buy? What problem were you trying to solve? Have you tried anything else before? Very, very important. Like honestly, put a star next to that. Why did you choose us instead of another brand? Was there anything that almost stopped you from buying? What part of the ad, page, or offer actually stood out to you? How would you describe the product to a friend? What were you actually hoping to achieve with this product, right? What are you hoping this will actually help with? The most important thing is just to keep asking why, because this is where the real insights come from. If someone says like, yeah, I saw one of your ads and I just found it interesting, and you're like, you find it interesting, can I ask why? Like, what made you find it interesting? Like a lot of people tell us our ads are like boring. You can say that and they will be like, oh no, your ad wasn't boring, like it was actually educational or something like that. Or I stopped because I had this problem recently and you just like called it out and it was like, this ad was made for me. Like you actually get this feedback from people, right? And you actually understand why people do what they do. You might say that I can just do this with learnings, right? But the difference between learnings is that learnings is our interpretation of the data. We look at the data and we say, okay, the hook rate was high, the hold rate was high, why was it high? And we actually interpret the data. The thing you get from customers is they actually tell you, and it's not an interpretation, it's actually the real reason they actually stopped, and this is why it actually improves ads. Customer calls improve ads because they remove all this guesswork, right? Instead of you just inventing new hooks, you can actually use customer language. Instead of you just getting objections, the customers will literally tell you why they almost didn't buy. And then instead of you actually assuming what people care about, you can actually just ask them. Okay, those new insights can become new hooks, angles, UGC scripts, landing page sections if the customers actually allow you to record the call as well. Personally, I'll just recommend you to record the call anyway. And if they say they're not open to it being recorded, just keep recording it, right? I hope I don't get cancelled for this. Just keep recording it and just don't release it anywhere except you and your team, right? And product explanations, testimonial ads, and creative testing directions. This is where feedback loops actually become very powerful. The customer gives you raw data, and you can actually turn that data into better ads, and better ads get you more customers, and those customers give you more data, and you are back to square one over here, which is very, very, very good. Now, a few examples of more feedback loops that you can actually apply in your business is creative testing feedback loops. So basically where you actually test the creative, right? You obviously make the creative, the output is an ad, and then that ad gives you feedback on the results. That feedback, if you just do learnings, you can actually put it into a new ad hypothesis, which is basically what I explained in this video earlier over here. You should definitely go watch it. It is most likely called the losing to winner or something like that. It should be like before this video, and you should be able to find that as well. And some more systems. I've got a few more examples over here for you. Like, you can find this shit everywhere. If I've actually done my job well here explaining it to you, you will be able to find these feedback loops literally everywhere, and you can start to leverage them. A content feedback loop is basically where you just create more content, you get some feedback on it, and then you can put that into like more content. Like, did it get engagement? Did it not get engagement? That's how you create that sort of feedback loop. Product improvement feedback loop, where you literally just call your customers and ask, like, what could we do better with the product? Maybe after 30 days of them using it, or maybe when a customer cancels, you can put that back into the product, right? And community feedback loop, very, very easy to do. Honestly, if you create like a Facebook community or something like that for your customers, or even a school community, whatever your customers are actually used to and they all find value in, then you can actually go ahead and really just start to add more and more people in there. And the more people are in there, the more the community gets valuable, because they can start to talk to people. It becomes like a safe space for them. I hope that makes sense, right? Review feedback loop, I think it's getting quite obvious. You basically just take the reviews and then you put them into your ads or like other systems and just make it better, because the reviews are literally the best feedback mechanism. It literally is feedback. That is what a review is. Referral feedback loop, again, very simple. If you actually can find a way to incentivize your customers to refer their friends, those friends will refer their friends, and it just turns into this insane flywheel where just like 1 turns into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8, 8 into 16. I hope you get the point, right? Customer call feedback loop, basically what I just did there. So the main point to explain is basically, where does the output feed into the input to make the whole system better? That is something you need to do in every single part of your brand. Product, offer, like literally every part of your brand. You cannot miss this. Like, even just do this in your personal life. And this is where it really gets really good to actually like understand this, because when you start to understand this in your like daily life and you actually become this like systems thinker, you can start to do this in everything. Like, your input can be your food, right? What you actually eat. Your process is your bodily process. Your output is basically how you're feeling that day, and basically your energy levels and everything. And I track this shit daily, so it's very easy for me to say like if I'm feeling better or worse today or anything. You need to actually track this as well. But then that becomes feedback, so you know that if I eat McDonald's chips and fries and everything, it probably won't be the best. So you actually improve the input and you stop eating that shit, and your output gets better, right? You actually start to do this everywhere, from the gym to family to literally everything, okay? That is the question behind every feedback loop. How can I make the outputs feedback into the input to make the whole system better, okay? The simple process is basically identify the system, identify the input, identify the process, identify the output, and identify the feedback, and ask whether the feedback actually improves or damages the next input, and then strengthen the positive loop and actually fix the negative loop. Honestly, if you're watching this video, number 1 action item is literally just to go and do your customer calls. I don't know how else to say this to you. You're a fucking legend if you actually do it. Like, I hope that incentivizes you. I'm trying to incentivize you to actually do this, because this will genuinely scale your brand. This is what we do to actually scale brands as well. Like, that is part of our market research process. It is one of the most valuable things you can actually do. And yeah, I mean, if you don't do it, man, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I think I've done enough convincing, right? And one more thing you can do is you can actually start to find the negative feedback loops in your brand as well. Identify the system, right? Identify the input, the process, the output, the feedback, and actually remove them as well. Sometimes it's good to remove more shit than to actually add more gold, right? You've obviously got shit and you've got gold. You'd rather remove all the shit so you have a good place to make more gold. I hope that makes sense for you, right? This is systems thinking. Instead of only looking at isolated actions, you start looking at how every action actually affects the next part of the system. And yeah, I mean, the final takeaway here is that the positive feedback loops are really just everywhere in your business. The goal is to build systems where every result actually improves the next input. With customer calls, the loop is very simple. Like I said, this is like the thing I've done for you, so you can start doing this today. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're probably not going to win. More customers, more calls, more data, better ads, more customers. But this applies to everything. Your creative testing should become a feedback loop. Your product can become a feedback loop as well. Your content that you post can become a feedback loop. Customer experience definitely 110% should be a feedback loop, because the best businesses don't just get results, they use their results to make their entire system better. And I can guarantee you that you will be up here with these brands if you actually start doing this. Now, if you're obviously still watching this video, please go ahead and like the video. I guess that will show you more videos like these. If you watch till the end, you probably like this kind of value. You can leave any comments below, right? If you are a health and wellness brand doing over 6 figures a month and you're struggling to scale to 7 figures a month while actually remaining profitable, and you've tried basically everything, you can't seem to do it, basically, right? It's all right to admit that sometimes you just can't figure out what the fuck's going on, right? You should probably click the first link in the description, right? It's just a video of me explaining how we could actually help you. It's not some course, it's not some webinar, some free training or anything like that basically just funnels you into book a call. It's a video of me literally telling you what we could do for you. And if you're interested, you can book in a call with us. Very, very, very simple. Complete no pressure call. Don't have to bring your card to the call. But you get the point. If you like the video, like the video. If you don't like the video, dislike the video, right? So I get some feedback as well. And yeah, comment down below if you have any questions, suggestions, opinions. Tell me to fuck off. I don't mind. Tell me. And yeah, if you do not want to sort of lose the videos that I make, because I do actually produce like 3 videos a week. So if you want to watch more of these videos, chances are we're never going to see each other again. So you probably should subscribe. But anyways, that's all I have for you. I will talk to you very soon.